I'm Ashton Addison from EventChain for Investment Pitch Media and the Crypto Coin Show. And today on Blockchain Interviews, we have Michael Bramlage, the CEO of Quidd. Michael, welcome to the show. Thank you for taking the time to be here today.
Thanks, Ashton. Great to be here.
I'm really excited to dive into Quidd in the world of NFTs. Your company is doing some really interesting stuff with some amazing partnerships with some huge brands. And I'm impressed that all these brands are getting into NFTs so quickly here. I would love for you to just kick it off for us with just a high-level overview and the focus of Quidd right now.
Yeah, you bet. So Quidd is, we're really three things. First, we're a licensee. We work with media companies, sports teams, influencers to turn their intellectual property into NFTs. Then we also are a retailer. We essentially help do drops and sell our product in an online environment. And then the third step is we're sort of our own little eBay. We run an aftermarket that lets our collectors buy and sell object between them. And you mentioned brands. We have over 325 of, we like to think, the world's most beloved brands available to collect on our platform.
Very cool. And I'm excited to dive into that in a short while here. And when you started Quidd, did you see issues in the NFT space? It seems that it's growing so rapidly, and I'm curious if it's outgrowing the software, the platforms that's ready to handle this kind of traffic.
Yeah, I think that's a very valid concern, right? NFTs are obviously having a moment. It's really hard to fathom the kind of rocket ship ride we've been on in the last couple of quarters here. So no, I think that NFTs, they're here to stay. They're absolutely revolutionary in terms of transforming business models, right? And connecting creators and brands with their true fans. And I think, though, it's time for the industry to really live up to the potential and the promise of this technology, right? There are going to be bumps in the road. I think right now is the perfect time for everybody to buckle in and start to address things like interoperability, permanence, multi-chain support, really, because ultimately what that does is it creates a better product and experience for what should be eventually 1 billion NFT collectors on the planet.
Wow. Yeah. And, what people have seen OpenSea and some of these other NFT marketplaces. I know Quidd is doing a couple more things than just that. Could you elaborate on what makes Quidd unique and gives it a competitive advantage from just these other NFT marketplaces that you're seeing?
Yeah, I like to think our advantage is hard-earned in the sense that we've been around for 5 years. We predated CryptoKitties, and our vector into the space was a real conviction that collectors, whether it's high-end artwork or cardboard baseball cards, were eventually going to go for a format shift. A lot like paper money, a lot like stock certificates. The physical format is going to go away, right? And there's going to be a digital-only experience that will be 10x what you can do in the real world. So I think our advantage lies in our origin story, which is we got into this well before NFTs were a thing because we really believed the collecting experience could be 10x better if it were done digitally. We also recognized, demographically, we've got now multiple generations of individuals who've grown up with video games, right? And in that process, they've essentially ascribed real value to something that you can't touch or feel with your hands. It's a very fertile environment ultimately to introduce NFTs to those generations of individuals who have shown an extreme value for digital objects. So again, I think our advantage comes from the fact that we've been in this for a while. We've learned a lot. And whether it's our 325 brands, whether it's our 7 million collectors, or whether it's that our collectors really love the IP, right? They're not in it for the money. They're in it because they love Mickey Mouse, they love LeBron James, they love Spider-Man. I think that's what's going to set us apart, right? I think that's also what's going to allow us to, ride the various cycles that will exist in NFTs and ultimately achieve our stated goal of being around for 100 years.
Definitely. Well said, Michael. And I like that you mentioned the 10x growth. I think, when entrepreneurs start a business, you really have to go for 10x growth, and you can't just try to improve something 10% better and to shoot for the moon. Really, that's going to make a difference and revolutionize the industry. And it seems like your team has gathered so many partnerships. I know you're partnered with Animoca. I want to talk about that in a little bit, but could you, there's so many different partnerships that you could talk about. And I'm sure that they're all producing different kinds of NFTs, different series and collections. Could you just touch a little bit on some of these major partners that you have to get a glimpse for people of what kind of content they're going to be able to find in the NFT world on Quidd?
Absolutely. Imagine us as like an NFT mall or almost a Comic-Con filled with NFTs, right? We've got 325 brands. You can find Spider-Man through Marvel. You can find Game of Thrones. You can find Star Trek. You can find pretty much any brand or IP that has ever been released by Disney. So there really is almost an overwhelming assortment of digital collectibles and NFTs that you can find on the Quidd marketplace. And I like to think that one of our roles in this very nascent industry is to be the trusted partner to get media companies, sports teams, sports leagues ultimately comfortable with this new technology and this new business model. And again, I think what makes us unique is we can get NFTs into the hands of fans, of supporters, without them even having a crypto wallet, holding a cryptocurrency, or in some cases, even having a credit card, right? So we like to think we represent a trusted place for media companies and for sports leagues to work on NFTs, but also a very accessible front door, right? About anybody can come to and in 60 seconds or less get their hands on their very first NFT.
Very cool, Michael. And with all of these amazing brands that you already have on board, and Quidd starting 5 years ago before CryptoKitties, that's very impressive. I can imagine you consider that, at the innovation stage and the early adopter stage. And now with all these brands coming in throughout 2020 and 2021, do you still see the NFT space as, early adopters and early on, and how early really is it before it gets to more widespread adoption?
First off, I think you have to set the time scale, right? At Quidd, we like to talk in decades, because if you think about collectibles, if you think about high-end artwork, frankly, some of the most interesting stuff is the old stuff, right? It's actually what makes the space really, really compelling, I like to think. So for us, the time horizon is not a quarter, it's not a month, it's not a week. It's actually about 100 years, right? And that's a very important lens through which to view the space, because you do need to give your collectors the confidence that when you buy a digital collectible, when you buy an NFT, it's truly going to be yours, right? It's going to last longer than the planet. Who knows, right? So that's really the first thing you have to set is the time horizon. And then when you zoom into the last couple of weeks, last couple of months, I think it is very fair to say, look, these are incredibly early days. What's happened so far, I think, has catalyzed the industry. It's brought in a lot of individuals, new companies, new innovation into the space. But I really do think we are just at the beginning of this. This is going to be, 100 years of NFTs.
Definitely, and thank you for that information. And with this in the early days, you have all these brand partnerships, and I'm sure that's going to attract definitely people that are specifically interested in Disney collectibles. They're going to look for that. In terms of driving more user adoption and the end users to Quidd, do you see these different brands and partnerships as the main primary driver of adoption, or are there also other marketing strategies, and how are you going to grow the end user base?
It's a very good question. I think there's a lot of folks in the NFT space that have lived through this most recent cycle, and they're saying, where's the next cohort of demand that's going to come in, right? So it's a very important topic, especially right now. So in terms of the question, brands obviously matter, right? The starting point should not be speculation. The starting point should not be a quick flip. You should be here because you love the asset itself, right? You love the intellectual property. You watch the show, you read the comic books, you go to the movies. You are just a fan of that thing, and this is just another outlet for expressing that fandom. So brands obviously are the starting point. It would be inaccurate to say that people are on Quidd for anything but the love of the brands, right? So that's the starting point. Now, in terms of bringing that to the broader world, I like to think we've made some great strides in terms of reducing the friction points, making sign up and ultimately owning your first NFT incredibly easy. Again, 60 seconds or less, right? So now that that's in place, you've got the brands, you've got a friction-free adoption path. Now, what do you go tell the world about it? This might be a bit controversial, but I don't know that we go tell the world about it. I think it's ultimately up to our community, right, to spread the word and let others know the fun that they're having in collecting NFTs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we like that, as sort of disciplined as you have to be to say it's really up to the community to grow this thing. That actually mirrors how some of the healthiest and most sustainable collectibles markets have grown, right?
Mm-hmm.
Baseball cards really are a function of the collector community, more so than an individual producer or a sports league. It's the community that gets up early, goes to convention, sets up the booth, and basically passes on the love for this hobby from generation to generation. So it's a bit controversial, but ultimately I think growth has to come from the community first, as opposed to somebody who runs the marketplace, runs the retail shop, or issues the NFTs.
Yeah. No, I think that's a great point, Michael, and I completely agree, and I see where you're coming from, because you don't usually see baseball cards being advertised. It's the people that are interested in it, and that's their passion, and that gets passed down through people that get involved in that.
And that's absolutely our motivation. I think what also sets us apart is, for us, the collector is the hero, right? Mm-hmm. It's that individual that loves the NFT, that owns the NFT, that is active in the community, that's an ambassador to new users. That person is the hero. They're far more important than us. I hate to say it, but they're also far more important than our brands. It's that individual collector that you can see in Quidd, or you can see in other ecosystems, that truly is the entity that powers it forward. They're the ones that pass it on to their kids. They're the ones that tell their neighbors about it. They're the ones that proudly display their object. They really are the sustaining life force of any collectibles ecosystem. So, for us, that is the most important thing, and I think that's what sets us apart is a true, real sort of love for that collector as the hero.
Definitely. Well said, Michael. And I wanted to talk about your partnership and the acquisition from Animoca Brands, how that's shifted Quidd throughout the last year, and how that's going to play a role in growing Quidd now that you're part of the Animoca Brands family, which just has so much to do with NFTs right now.
Yeah, we're absolutely thrilled to be a part of the Animoca Brands family. I think they made an incredibly smart decision 3 or 4 years ago when they moved aggressively into blockchain gaming and into NFTs. It would be an understatement to say that bet paid off. They are absolutely the industry leader in the space, and to have them as our parent company, to have their backing and their support is transformational for Quidd. So as part of their family, they've really given us, I don't want to say a blockchain overhaul, but they've really helped us take what we were doing, right, and say we can enhance this dramatically, right, by connecting this into the world of NFTs and connecting it to the blockchain. I think that's another really compelling part that is almost inimitable in this space as it relates to Quidd, which is we've been doing this for 5 years, right? We've been getting off-chain digital collectibles in the hands of fans who love these objects and see value in them. Now working with Animoca to make these NFTs, to put them on multiple chains, to have an incredible smart contract powering it, it's an enhancement to what we're doing, right? It's not blockchain for the sake of blockchain. It's blockchain because it solves a real technical problem for us, in the sense that we absolutely have to give our collectors the confidence, as the prices of these collectibles rise, that you can truly own this and you can truly have it for 100 years. And I think Animoca has been absolutely instrumental in taking our collectibles and basically bringing them to the blockchain.
That's great to hear, and I'm excited to see how Animoca and Quidd continue to grow together. And I would love to get a glimpse into any of the upcoming milestones and the roadmap of the big things that you're looking to achieve in the next year or in the next while here.
Yeah, I think from a blockchain perspective, Ethereum, Wax, Harmony, that is our goal. There may be some other goals associated there, but again, our model is one where the collector is the hero, the collector has the agency. It's up to the individual to determine when to mint, and most importantly, where to mint, which chain they ought to move their very valuable limited edition NFT. And so that's top of the list to get that banged out. And in terms of partnerships, we don't like to speculate on that. We don't like to leak things or be coy about things. It creates too much sort of market manipulation. So we actually won't comment on any future licensing deals we have in the works. But I can say that it's hard to ignore the excitement in the space. And it is fantastic that so many individuals in the world of media, entertainment, pop culture, and sports have come to this space and are more than just exploring it. Right? They're actively working to bring their wonderful IP to the world of NFTs.
Definitely, Michael. And for future collectors and artists that are looking to get involved with the communities that are already using Quidd and to start using Quidd and collect more NFTs, what's the best way for the viewers to learn more and get involved?
Pull your phone out of your pocket, go to the App Store, go to Google Play, search for Quidd, Quidd. Again, listing things that sort of set us apart. We've had native mobile applications on iOS and on Android for 5 years now. There's no more accessible client, right, than having a native mobile app on your phone that's always with you in your pocket. So that's the primary place to go try Quidd. Additionally, you can go to market.onquidd.com, so market.onquidd.com, and you can see our web-based product that shows our cash aftermarket. It's kind of a fun experience to watch and root for these brands as, Marvel overtakes the NBA or Bob's Burgers comes out and they have a wonderful weekend and they go to number 1 on the charts. So you can check that out as well.
Very cool, Michael. Well, I will leave all those links in the description box below. All the best with Quidd moving forward. I'm excited to see how it continues to grow, and let's follow up in the near future.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ashton.